Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setups for today, the 11th of January. So we onwards and upwards, I suppose, what we had. We did have this inside bar. We've broken through there. No doubt versions to speak of at the moment. We are overbought right now. We did break and retest structure, and this was this tail here. It's what we were looking at yesterday. So it was a good buying opportunity off here. 14,673. Personally, I think I'd be taking profit now if we're still in that trade. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, because could be a bit of a double top brewing. I just want to pop across to the weekly and just highlight this. That was my target area, and look at what is to the left. It is going to take one massive catalyst to break through this. We could argue that we have an inverse head and shoulders here that we have broken the neckline on, which is this one here, kind of this level here at 14,673 on the weekly. But bear in mind, this is a weekly setup, so we need to see a weekly breakthrough, and I want to see a weekly retest, to be honest, before committing to that. So the interesting thing on the moving averages is that they are swinging to the upside on the weekly here. But then we have a bearish signal here with a crossover of the oscillator. So not too keen to continue chasing longs at the moment. Looking at the 8 hour, we are extended from our moving averages. We did get a decent retest, but looking at my oscillators, this is all indicating to me that there is something brewing. It could just flip around and form a big range for us, and then we'd go for a breakout of the range of continuation, which would be great. But I think we are looking at possibly another little bit of a pullback onto some structure, and what we need to do is find that structure. So long-term longs for me, I think I would be very cautious on. From an intraday perspective, when we start looking at it from the 3 hour down, just look at the 3 hour for our structure. Nothing really changed from yesterday. We just got one more bit of structure that has come into play, but could have been tested here with these two bars, but it was really messy before we got going, and I don't think anything is going to help us there. We are overbought here as well. Trend is up, so we should still be buying, but we're looking a little bit stretched. And when we start looking at the hour, you can see really messy through most of the morning session until, what was that, 12 o'clock. So that's 12. That would have been 2 o'clock GMT time here before we started moving. So afternoon session for the DAX just before the US market opened. And there was some movement in the US market pre-market, but then it sort of retraced and then continued, whereas the DAX was relatively safe and stable. So trend is up. There's no two ways about that. We don't really want to be going against the trend. And what I do want to do is just pull in the next bit of structure here, which is going to be that tail there. What I'm looking for is a pullback. There's no diversions here. There's nothing telling me that this is a potential top. And anyway, for it to be a top, we'd need to break through the lows of yesterday and retest that before we start moving down to test this structure further down here, which is around there, which would be a beautiful buying area, which is at 14,512. For the 15-minute, see how messy this was, how the moving averages came together, and then eventually you see the buyers starting to step in here. Multiple pin bars, multiple tails on this area would have been a difficult trade to get, but if you just stick to the rules, that was your entry up there, stop below. You're talking about a 25-point stop loss, so very low risk, and ultimately looking for a 100-point gain. Okay, so what we can do here, actually going to use this level here. That's my zone. This is the zone I'm looking to come and retest this morning. That is 14,835, 14,821. So if we can get some positive price action in here, this should form a flag, and then I'm looking for a continuation to the upside. Oscillators here are grouping quite nicely. you want to be using, you can use normal position size, but you want to be having a really tight stop. So if it comes into the zone, you're looking for a stop just below the zone. You're looking for price action in here, inside bars, engulfing bars, or pin bars on one of these two levels. Your entry is above that structure, your stop is right below, and you're looking for a move up. But my problem with this, I need to go back to the weekly. Problem with this setup is a move to where? As you can see, our zone is right here, and if you look to the left on the weekly, look, that is where the previous support was. So I'm really wary about this. I prefer a deeper pullback and then target this this upper area, and we'll get to that now. So I might prefer a deeper pullback before targeting this zone again. So you can see we're just above it. It could be a case of today find support here and then rally. Okay, back to the weekly. Oh, come on. Okay, so probably need to restart everything. It could be a case of back to the weekly and look for the next weekly support, so 1500 or 15060. So if we come back here, big zone of weekly, what was resistance, and we have tested it once. So I would definitely be interested to see what happens there. If we do get some buying off there, go with the flow. You want to buy, but then your next weekly level is 1500. So it's between 1500 and 1560. So that's kind of the setup that I've got at the moment, but I'd be very, very, very cautious of this area here. So the nice thing about it is if we do get price into there, it's only a 33-point stop loss for me. So that I'm prepared to take because the risk reward could be great. It could be a pretty rapid move up, or it could just take its time, sort of over 2 days to get here before rejecting. What we're looking for, sorry, what we're looking for this week is a weekly close above 14,821, or sorry, weekly close above 14,835. Get a decent weekly close above that, then I would argue that that zone is out of sight, out of mind for a short period of time until we've tested 1500, and then I would expect some kind of a pullback into here. I'd expect price to sort of bounce here for a week or two, just to stabilize in here. But then again, anything can happen. I've seen situations, especially with COVID a couple of years ago, where we just rallied straight through all the levels. We broke them all to the downside, and then we just pushed straight back through them without any resistance. So that's kind of the view that I've got at the moment. Watch this zone. You get an opportunity to buy it, well worth chasing it. You're in the uptrend, go with the uptrend. It's only when we start breaking below the lows of yesterday that you need to start looking at a possible rejection of this area for a bit of a bigger move down, and then probably try and build a base to climb again. Anyway, that's kind of my view today. Pay attention to those two weekly zones. I think it's going to be pretty interesting over the coming weeks. These two are going to play a major role in price action. Hope that helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.